and states around the country are celebrating that day. Ujima, in terms of collective work, I'll talk to you later, and responsibility. That's right in the middle of what did we do last year? Kujichagalia, right? Beautiful language, Kujichagalia. It's almost like the phonetic aspects of Swahili. And of course, coming, I guess next year we'll do Ujima, huh? So here we are, Ujima, in terms of the collective work. And I think the collective work is exemplified right here this afternoon. When you can see the individuals who come together and marshaling their resources, dedicating their time and energy. And the kitchen was on fire back there. and having all of the elected officials come through, particularly my good friend Andrea Stewart Cousins. I just love her. She's a very, very powerful and effective voice. We need a few more like that. Because Tip O'Neill said it very well, all politics is local. And so whatever we begin to stimulate, and I guess they're voting on that today in terms of who's going to be the leadership of the DNC. And it looks pretty good. It's a throwdown battle there between Thomas Perez, the former labor secretary, and one Keith Ellison, the Muslim. So we'll see how that plays out. Whoever gets that position needs to put together a staff. And we got a Michael Blake, who's a very, very fine assemblyman. I'd like to see him as like the vice chair. So you have some of the people on the ground and maybe around the country, regional directors. But the party is going to have to hook up. Going to have to hook up with the union movement again in this country in a very, very significant way. I think they dropped the ball on that to a certain degree, but took a lot of things for granted. You can't take the black vote for granted. You got to go out there and convince them that this is a very, very important franchise that you have. A lot of people, when we talk about Black History Month, a lot of people, went to the ramparts to give you this here possibility for the franchise. I tell my young people that all the time. Sometimes they grow weary of looking at the path of struggle that's strewn with so many black bodies. They say, I'm so depressed. Professor Boyd, do we have to see another one of those tragic films? I say, understand this here. There's the lessons we have to sometimes look it right in the face. The kind of meanness and the kind of destruction, kind of genocide, the kind of violation of our civil and human rights. We have to put that in perspective in terms of struggle. You cannot turn away from it. You face it straight on. And that should give you some determination, and renew that spirit of struggle. Each time I come to Yonkers, where true love conquers. Excuse me, Rogers and Hart. Are you musicians out there? I'm always uplifted and inspired. And I'm glad to see that so many of you, after donating your money and eating the food, you're still hanging around. Well, that's good. And I don't know what's happening down the road, but I know one thing, that however you move, you can look for me. As Marcus Garvey said it, when they were deporting him from this country, after 2 years in the Atlanta penitentiary, in Calvin, President Coolidge did not pardon him. They commuted his sentence in the same way that President Obama probably commuted more sentences than all the other presidents combined. He said, look for me in the whirlwind, because I'll come back with an army that will turn this whole globe around. Marcus Garvey never made it to Africa, but Malcolm X did. One of the books we have over there, it deals with By Any Means Necessary. Another book over there is Simeon's story. This is the one I did with Simeon Wright, who's the first cousin of Emmett Till, who was sleeping with Emmett Till when he was snatched from the bed. That book has been optioned by Whoopi Goldberg. And now she, along with Keith Beauchamp, put together a feature film on the life and times, however short, however brief it was, of Emmett Till. So, back to the film thing, huh? can't get away from film because that begins to get and commute to us and give us some understanding in a very visual way. And sometimes with the sound too, we can't ignore that. Pay attention to the radio, pay attention to the films. If you can get online and do your internet thing, I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a both and. You know, a lot of people with the flyers and everything, I don't know how to operate the computer, you know. So we have to find a way to get information to them too. They cannot be ignored. So what has gone before, and what's happening right now, and what's in the future for us. If you don't know where you're going, folks, any road will take you there. Thank you. Yeah.
Let's give Brother Everybody another round of applause. Thank you for your, I just want to acknowledge, number one, our loving committee